Hey everyone, Brian here. Hopefully you can see this video. I'm using my headlight. I don't have very good light out here, out at the outside area of my shop. But I'm doing some work on the walker, and I got some good news, and I just want to clarify a few things, and just give some information. I figured out the engine's not blown. I believe I mentioned that in the previous video, and I believe it was seized on the piston rings. I did a video yesterday, but it didn't turn out, so I didn't bother uploading it. But as you can see, I got some jumper cables. I got it hooked to my big boost battery. And I want to show you something. Yep, it cranks over both sides. So she's definitely not blown. I put some oil in the engine. It seems to be holding oil in the engine. Just cranking over without the plugs for now. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to see if it'll fire tonight. I got some carb spray and I bought some ether. But I mainly want to crank it over. So I don't know what the main issue was. I don't know if it was an oiling issue or if it was like an oiling issue is why it locked up. I don't know. So, but the crankshaft seems to be fine. Starpus left a comment in the one video saying, "Oh, I'm going to have to replace the crankshaft." I don't know 100% what he meant by that, but I don't think I do. It seems to be fine. It's not making a lot of noise. It's just the starter noise, really. But it seems to be okay. Maybe he meant I have to replace the crankshaft if I want to use the crank side of the engine to run accessories. I think that's possibly what he meant, because this does have a stubby crankshaft in it. Since it's designed for this machine, or for these type of machines, they don't have a crankshaft sticking out the backside of the engine like a regular horizontal shaft would. Since this is a flywheel accessory driven engine. So that's I think what he meant. I'm not sure though. Also, I want to point out this little part right here. It's a little jack shaft in here. It's a little stuck right now. That's actually going to become my jack shaft on the Kubota whenever I lower it. That's about 6-8 inches. I know the lighting sucks. I'm trying to get my headlight over so you guys can see what I'm doing, and without blocking the camera or getting too much light over the camera. So, but anyways, as you can hear, the engine's cranking over really well. I'm going to try it with the plugs in shortly, see how the compression is. But other than that, it seems like the engine's not bad. Definitely it's not blown. Also, what I'm thinking is it had little to no oil in it. The oil filter looks brand new, or at least relatively new. Let's see if we can find the filter. Oh, there it is right there. It's dirty, but that filter looks brand new. So, in the bottom of the engine had very little oil in it. So, and there's obviously no hole in the block. What I'm thinking possibly what happened is they changed the oil. They forgot to put oil in it. And they ran it. Then they noticed, oh, the lights are on, and it locked up. That's an idea I have, because there's no holes in this block. We're going to look underneath the tractor now, if you want to call this a tractor. If you can see, that red is just that's just transmission fluid. There is no oil underneath this thing. There's a little bit of red transmission fluid that spilled. Whenever I cranked it over, it came out of that cylinder right there. But there is no oil on the ground underneath this tractor. So, and I've looked over the block. I had the starter off. There's no hole behind the starter. And obviously, I got compression, or I got both pistons moving. So obviously the pistons are not blown. So I tell you right there, obviously the engine's not blown. And even when I was just cranking it over by hand, I did the screwdriver test, and they were both moving. So I think I lucked out on this. That's my guess. What happened is, Starpus also mentioned it has a lot of hours on it, but it's a commercial machine. So yeah, it has a lot of hours, but I don't plan on selling the engine. I plan on keeping the engine, putting it in the GT for now, and hopefully in the future run a dual alternator setup off of it to a power inverter, to a battery bank, so on and so forth. so make another generator out of it. And I'm looking at this frame. I actually might hold on to part of this frame and use it actually as the base for the generator. We'll see. If I can get it down small enough, it doesn't take up a lot of space, I will. I haven't yet figured out what I want to do with the dual hydraulic pumps up front. This for drives. Both drives have their own pumps on these, so I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll figure out something to do. If it has a good gas tank in it already, so that's a good fuel cell. It's fairly large as well. So anyways, as you can see, the engine's not seized anymore. Like I said, it was seized when I got it, but the crank did move. So I don't think the crank ever seized. But because when I first got it, I checked the crank moved a little bit back and forth. It was just the pistons were locked up. So I did the tricks, and I got it to unlock relatively easy. Didn't even have to use the starter to unlock it. Didn't have to use a breaker bar. Just use some automatic transmission fluid. It unlocked it really easy. So I'm guessing that's what they did. I could be wrong. I do not know. I did put oil in the engine, of course, before I cranked it over a lot. And as you can see, maybe not, it's holding oil. And yeah, the oil is right where I left it. So I have a feeling that's what ended up happening on this. Or there could still, like I said, be an oil pump problem. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to figure out the electrical working, and run the engine and see what happens. So I'll talk to him later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.